Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be tackling this higher paper for maths. It's a non-calculator paper, so you do not need a calculator obviously. This is the Gcse Pearson Edexcel paper and we will just get right into it. So the first question is pretty simple. You just use the rules of indices. So when you multiply 3 to the power of 7 to 3 to the power of minus 2, you've got to add the powers. That would give you 3 to the power of 7 plus minus 2, and that will give you 5. We're then dividing that by 3 cubed, and when you divide indices, you've just got to take 3 away from 5 and you'll get 3 squared. So the answer is 9. For the next question, all we're asked to do is to just substitute in values to get the value of v. So we know that v squared equals u squared, where u squared is 12, so it's 12 squared, plus 2 times a, where a is 3, times s, where s is 18. You then get v squared equals 144 plus, well, it would be minus, as we've got a minus number here. So it would be minus 6 multiplied by 18, which is 108. And then we'll have v squared equals 144 minus 108, 36. So v equals 6. Make s the subject of v squared equals u squared plus 2as. So I just write out the formula. I would then take off u squared. I would then divide by 2a. And then you're left with s. Okay guys, so for this next question, we are told that a bonus of £2,100 is shared by 10 people who work for a company. So let's just highlight that. So £2,100 is shared by 10 people who work for a company. Now 40% of this bonus is shared equally between 3 of the managers. The rest of the bonus is shared equally between 7 salesmen. Now one of these 7 salesmen say that if the bonus is shared equally between all the 10 people, the salesman will get 25% more money. Is the salesman correct? I'm not sure how you get your answer. So I would do is I would start off by finding out what is 40% of 2,100 to find out how much the 3 managers get. So 40% can be written as 40 out of 100 because percentages are always out of 100 and I love to work with fractions, so as I find that a lot easier. 40 out of 100 is the same as 4/10, and I think I'm going to stop there because I'd rather divide by 10 than divide by 5, which is a simpler fraction. But I'm going to stop there. I'm going to do 4/10 of 2,100. To work this out, you've just got to divide by the denominator and times by the top. So you've got to start off by dividing. So 2,100 divided by 10 is 210. And then you've got to multiply that by 4. Since this is a non-calculator paper, you would just need to work this out. So I'm just going to use the column method. So it'd be 0, 4, 8. So £840 is going to be shared between 3 managers. So you just need to divide 840 by 3. 3 goes into 8 twice with 2 left over. It goes into 24 8 times, and it goes into 0 0 times. So £280 is how much each manager is going to get. So let's just note that down over here. Okay, so now The rest of the bonus is shared equally between 7 salesmen. So if the managers get £840, we need to take that away from 2,100 to see what is shared between the 7 salesmen. So we just do 2,100 minus 840. Again, we don't have a calculator, so let's just use the column method. 840, and then we can't borrow from this 0, so we borrow from this 1, then make that a 9, that'll be a 10. So 10 take away 0 is just 10, so put 0 there, a 1 here. 9 take away 4 is 5, so you add the 1, you get 6. Then here it's a 0, so 10 take away 8 is 2, and then we'd have 1. So there's £1,260 left. This is shared between 7 salesmen, so we just do the bus stop method again. 1,260 divided by 7. 7 goes into 1 0 times, 7 goes into 12 1 time with 5 left over, 7 goes into 56 8 times, and 7 goes into 0 0 times. So each salesman gets £180. So let's just... Okay, so what the salesman says is that if the bonus is shared equally between all 10 people, that the salesman will get 25% more money. So let's see how much each person would get if it was shared equally. So if it was shared equally, you'd have to do 2,100 divided by 10, which is £210. Now, the salesman said that he would get 25% more money of what he's already got. So if he's got £180, we need to find 25% and add it on and see if that gives us £210. So 25% is the same as a quarter. And 1/4 of 180 is just 180 divided by 4. Since we don't have a calculator again, we'll just use the bus stop method. So 4 goes into 1 0 times, it goes into 18 4 times with 2 left over, and then it goes into 25 times. So let's add 45 to 210. We can already tell, to 180. We can already tell that he's not correct because 45 ends in 5, but 210 doesn't. So 180 plus 45 is 225. And 225 is not equal to 210. So the salesman is incorrect. So for this question, it says it would take 120 minutes to fill a swimming pool using water from 5 taps. How many minutes will it take to fill the pool if only 3 of the taps are used? So obviously, if you're using less taps, it is going to take longer. So you're just going to have to do 120 multiplied by 5 divided by 3. 120 times 5, which you can use the column method for. So that would be 0, 0 with 1 left over, and it would be 6. So it would be 600 divided by 3, and so the answer would be 200. So the next part of the question, I've already just filled it in. One assumption you made in working out your answer. So I put that all the taps are running at the same speed because you've assumed that they are. Some might be faster, that would make it quicker to fill in the swimming pool, and then some might take longer, but we're relying on the fact that 5 taps took 120 minutes. Next question says, a plane travels at a speed of 213 miles per hour. Work out an estimate for the number of seconds the plane takes to travel 1 mile. Will be miles to hours. But bear in mind that you've got to be reading the question properly, as it's not asking about hours, it's asking about seconds. So at the end we will need to convert the hours into seconds. So it's 213 miles per hour. And it says, work out the number of seconds the plane takes to travel 1 mile. So what I would do is I would actually start off by just putting into seconds anyway. It just makes it so much easier. So in an hour, there's 60 minutes. And each minute has 60 seconds. So you've just got to do 60 times 60. 6 times 6 is 36. And then there's 2 zeros, so you just add them on. So it takes 3,600 seconds for that. And remember, it says estimate. And the way we're going to find out how many seconds it takes for 1 mile is to divide by 213. What we will do is we'll just divide by 200. So divide by 200 here. And you'll get 18. And then I took off, because there's 2 zeros, I took them off. And then obviously dividing this by 200 would like give you approximately like 1. It won't obviously be 1, but that's what we were trying to get to. So approximately it's 18 seconds. Is your answer to part A an underestimate or an overestimate? Give a reason for your answer. So because we rounded down from 213 to 200, it would be an underestimate. Okay, so question 6 is asking us to solve these simultaneous equations. So what I would do is I'd start with the first equation, which is 5x plus y equals 21. Then I'd let y be the subject of this formula. So what you do is you'd minus 5x from both sides to get 21 minus 5x. So now we've got an equation for y. That means that we don't have to call y in the second equation y. We can just substitute 21 minus 5x into there. So we'd have x minus 3 multiplied by 21 minus 5x equals 9. So that would be x minus 3 times 21, which is 63, plus 15x. Because a minus multiplied by a minus gives a plus. That would equal 9. Then what we're going to do is we're going to collect our x's and add 63 on both sides. So collecting our x's would give us x plus 15x, which is 16x. And adding 63 on both sides will give us 72. Then x would be 72 divided by 16. And because we don't have a calculator, we can just narrow it down. So we'd get 36 over 4. No, we won't. So we'll get 36 over 8, which is 9 over 2, which is 4.5. Now, since we know, God, this is terrible. Since we know that x is 4.5, we're going to substitute that into this equation over here, where we know that y equals 21 minus 5 times 4.5. Now again, I'm going to put 4.5 as a fraction, so it'd be 5 times 9 over 2. That would be 21 minus 45 over 2. And 45 over 2 is just 22.5. So y equals minus 1.5. So it'd be minus 1.5. Okay, next question. The diagram shows a square ABCD with sides of length 20 centimeters. It also shows a semicircle and an arc of a circle. AB is the diameter of the semicircle and AC is an arc of a circle with centre B. Show that area of the shaded region divided by the area of the entire square is pi over 8. So what I would do is I'd start by the easiest one, which is finding the area of the square. So to find out the area, it's just base times height, and we know that the base is 20 and the height is going to be the same since it's a square. So area of square is 20 times 20, which is just 400, because you do 2 times 2 and then you'd add on 2 zeros since there's 2 zeros in the question. And now we need to find out the area of the shaded region. So the way I would do this is I would find out the area of this entire arc over here, and then I find out the area of this bit and I take them away from each other to find out the area of the shaded region. So let me just rub that out. Okay, so let's start off by finding out the area of the arc. So I'm just going to draw it out to put it into perspective. That was a really terrible attempt of a straight line. So it's like this, and then, yeah, so this is the arc of the circle, and we know that this is 20 centimetres. Bear in mind that this is a quarter of a circle, so the question is trying to throw you off over here, saying that AB is the diameter of the semicircle. Some people might get confused by thinking that that is also the diameter of this entire circle over here, but actually, if you draw the entire circle, which I am just glad that I can do on this app because I'm so bad at stuff like that, we can tell, or we can see that 20 centimetres is actually going to be the radius. Okay, so using the formula of finding the area of a circle, which is pi equals, oh my god, that is, I'm so sorry, which is pi r squared, you've just got to write pi of 20 squared, and we know that 20 squared is 400, so it's 400 pi. But remember, that is the area of the entire circle. Over here, we've only got a quarter of the circle, so we've got to divide 400 by 4. So 400 pi divided by 4 is 100 pi, and you've got to leave this answer in terms of pi because this is a non-calculated paper, and also they're asking us to show that the answer would be pi over 8, so they've left it in terms of pi. So don't think, oh, we need to multiply by 3.14 or anything like that. So let's look at the semicircle now. We'll just do that in a different colour. So we'll have semicircle, okay, and it's 20 centimetres, which is the diameter. So that means that the radius would be 10. Pi r squared would be 10 squared pi, which is 100 pi. But remember, this is only a half of a circle, so you've got to do 100 pi divided by 2, which is 50 pi. Now, to find out the area of the shaded region, I'm just going to make a little section over here. Right, so the area of shaded region would be the area of the arc minus the area of the semicircle. So it'd be 100 pi minus 50 pi, which is just 50 pi. So now we've got to show that the area of the shaded region over the area of the square is pi over 8, so it'd be 50 pi divided by 400. Now to get pi on its own, just like the question, just got to divide both the top and the bottom by 50, so you'd get pi over 400 divided by 50, which is 8. So the next question is asking us to write down the exact value of tan 45. So you have to know tan, cos and sine of 0, 15, d, 5, 60, and 1, I think it's 1 as well. I'm not 100% sure, but you are supposed to know the answers to these. So if you revise these, you would know that tan 45 is 1. So here is a right angle triangle. Cos 60 is 0.5. Work out the value of x. They might not tell you what cos 60 is because it is one of the functions you are supposed to know. But since they've told you that, we can use that in the question. So whenever you see questions like this with the cos, sine or tan, and you have to find out a length or an angle, what I would do is I would label this straight away. The first one I'll always label is the hypotenuse, just because people get confused about which one's adjacent to the angle. They think it's this one or that one. So if you do the hypotenuse first, you know that the other one's going to be adjacent, and then this is the opposite to the angle. So, if you haven't guessed already, we are going to be using SOHCAHTOA. So, SOHCAHTOA. And we want to find out the hypotenuse. We've got the adjacent, and we've also got cos 60. So we can already tell we are going to be using CAH. Now, because we need to find out the hypotenuse, we cover the h, and we know that we've got to do a divided by c. So that's 4 divided by cos 60, which is 0.5. So it's 4 divided by 0.5, which is 8. Oh, that was right. So it's 8 centimeters. Make sure that your units are there. Okay, so for the next question, we're told that the times that 48 trains left a station on Monday were recorded. The cumulative frequency graph gives information about the numbers of minutes the trains were delayed correct to the nearest minute. Now, it says here that the shortest delay was 0 minutes and the longest delay was 42 minutes. On the grid below, draw a box plot for the information about the delays on Monday. So what we're going to have to do is, we know that the smallest number is 0, so that would be the whisker on the left hand side. Okay, it would be useful if I had a pen. And then on the right hand side it'd be 42, so that would be here. And then we'll find out the median. So in order to find out the median on a cumulative frequency graph, you've got to divide the 48 trains by 2, so you've got to go to the middle, and that would be 24. So when we get to 24, which is here, the delay in minutes is 10. So that would be what goes in the middle. So, well, not in the middle, but it just goes in the middle of the box we're going to draw. And then to find the lower quartile, you've got to do 24, which is the middle. Divide that by 2, which is 12. So when you go to 12, you go here, and you get 4 delay in minutes. So that would go at the left side of the box, and that's just over here. And then for the upper quartile, we just add 12 above. So 24 add 12 is 36, and that is over there. And that takes us down to 20. So that would be over here. And then you just got to join this box up. And then make sure that it's done properly. So let's just sort this out. Make sure that the lines are, it doesn't matter how long the lines are or anything. And then you've got to join the whiskers on both sides. And that's the box plot drawn. For the next question, we're told that 48 trains left the station on Tuesday, and the box plot below gives information about the delays on Tuesday. Compare the distribution of the delays on Monday with the distribution of the delays on Tuesday. So this question is basically testing your knowledge on whether you understand what box plot shows. So we know that the right whisker shows the longest delay. And on Tuesday, the longest delay was 33. And on Monday, we know that it was 42. 2. So the longest delay on Tuesday was shorter, as it was 33 minutes, whereas on Monday it was 42 minutes. Because this question is 2 marks, I probably just put 2 points. So you can also say that the median was smaller on Tuesday. So the median on Tuesday was smaller at 9 minutes compared to 10 minutes on Monday. Okay, the next question, well, part C of this question says that Mary says the longest delay on Tuesday was 33 minutes. This means that there must be some delays of between 25 minutes and 30 minutes. Is Mary right? You must give a reason for your answer. Mary is incorrect because if you look at the upper quartile, we can see that it's quite large. So the delays can be between not just 25 and 30, but it can be from 17 to 24 and 30 to 33. So all you'd have to put is that Mary is incorrect because the delays can be between 17 and 24 or 30 and 33. Now in the next question, we've got to simplify x minus 1 over 5 bracket x minus 1 squared. So as you can see, there's an x minus 1 at the top and there's an x minus 1 at the bottom. So all you've got to do is divide them both by x minus 1. So you'd have 1 over 5 multiplied by x minus 1, and that'd be your answer. You can expand the brackets, but it doesn't matter as it's still the same thing. For the next question, you're asked to fully factorise 50 minus 2y squared. So what I would do is I know that 2 goes into both 2 and 50. So I take out 2, then I'd multiply by y squared. That would be minus y squared plus 25. But I'm going to put this in the form 25 minus y squared as it just looks a lot neater. So as you can see, 25 minus y squared is the difference of 2 squares. And because the y squared is negative, you've got to put in the form 2 times y plus 5, because you've got to remember the 5 stay positive because 25 is positive. And then you'll have minus y plus 5. So we'll just change the minus y to and put it on the other side so it's just neater.